The massive alien capital ship hung like a dark jewel against the black canvas of space. Its hull gleamed faintly, etched with alien markings that no human language could decipher. Inside, the corridors hummed with energy, resonating with a power that was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. This was the seat of the alien queen, a ruler whose name struck fear across star systems. Generations of alien warriors had served her, and her power armor was a symbol of her authority, unbroken and unchallenged. Until now, the great hall of the capital ship was filled with the soft murmur of alien voices. High above, suspended on a dais of shining metal, the queen herself stood, her silhouette framed by the glowing energy of her throne. The air seemed to hum with tension as she slowly moved her gaze across the gathered crowd of warriors, engineers and advisors. Her armor, the centerpiece of her presence, had been badly damaged in the last battle against a rival fleet. Scars and dents told a story of combat that no ordinary being could survive. Yet, as she looked down, she noticed something that made her eyes narrow sharply. Her armor, once battered and broken, now gleamed with a perfect sheen. Not a scratch, dent, or fracture remained. A wave of silence swept through the hall. Alien engineers whispered to each other, astonished. How could this have happened? No one had entered the Queen's chamber overnight. No one dared approach her directly. The repairs were impossible. The Queen's voice broke the silence. Who fixed my armor? She demanded, her tone sharp and commanding. It echoed through the hall like the roar of a storm, vibrating against the metal walls. The crowd froze. Not one of the assembled aliens dared speak. Many looked to the floor. The Queen's guards, known for their strict obedience and fierce loyalty, looked at each other in confusion. They had no answer. The armor was repaired, but who had dared to do it? Then, almost unnoticed at first, a small figure stepped forward. She was human. Ilara Miles, an engineer brought to the fleet as part of a technical exchange program, walked calmly toward the dais. Humans were rare in these halls. Most aliens had never seen one up close, and many believed humans to be fragile and weak. Yet here she was, walking directly toward the most feared being in the galaxy. Ilara's appearance was unremarkable. Simple overalls, worn boots, and a utility belt full of tools. She carried no weapons, no armor, nothing but her hands and her mind. Yet there was a quiet confidence in the way she moved, a calm that seemed to defy the tension in the hall. The Queen's eyes widened slightly. She had not expected this. She leaned forward, curious but wary. You, a human? She said, her voice a mixture of disbelief and interest. You claim to have fixed my armor? Ilara nodded. Yes, Your Majesty, she said clearly. I repaired your armor. It was damaged in battle, and I have restored it fully. I used the materials available in my understanding of engineering. A low murmur ran through the crowd. Aliens exchanged nervous glances. Humans were not known for their technical skill on a scale like this, especially compared to alien engineers who had studied this technology for centuries. It seemed impossible that one human untrained in alien methods could accomplish such a feat. The Queen's advisors leaned closer to whisper, their voices dripping with skepticism. Perhaps she is lying. No human could do this. The Queen, however, was not so quick to dismiss the human. She had seen countless engineers fail to repair her armor, watched as generations of her own kind struggled to restore even minor damage. And yet here stood a human, calm and confident. Her curiosity was piqued. Explain yourself, the Queen commanded. How did you achieve what my finest engineers could not? Speak, human, or face the consequences. Ilara swallowed, though her voice did not tremble. Your Majesty, I looked at the damage not as a problem to follow instructions for, but as a puzzle. I observed the materials, tested their limits, and experimented with ways to restore the armor's integrity. I combined my understanding of mechanics with creativity and careful observation. In short, I repaired it using the principles of engineering. And a little human ingenuity. The Queen's eyes narrowed. Human ingenuity? She repeated as if tasting the words. Explain this ingenuity of yours. Show me that your claim is not empty. Ilara gestured toward a nearby table. On it were small replicas of the armor's components. I can demonstrate, Your Majesty, even without touching your armor again. I can show how the structural integrity was restored, how energy conduits were rerouted, and how the joints were recalibrated to perform as they should. Some of the alien engineers leaned closer, curiosity replacing their earlier doubt. Even the guards looked interested, though none would admit it openly. The Queen studied Ilara carefully. She was small, almost fragile-looking, yet her confidence radiated like a subtle force. No human before had dared to step forward in such a manner. No human had ever dared speak to her directly without fear, and here this one did, calmly explaining technical details of alien armor she could barely comprehend. "Very well," the Queen said at last, her tone still sharp but tinged with interest. "You will not leave my sight until I am convinced. If your work is as you claim, it will be tested. And if it fails..." She let the threat hang in the air, unspoken but heavy. Ilara bowed her head slightly. "I understand, Your Majesty. I am ready for any test," the Queen signaled to her aides. "Prepare a simulation. My armor will be worn in combat exercises. If this human's repair fails, she will face the consequences. If it succeeds, then perhaps we shall reconsider the value of humans in my fleet." The room buzzed with tension. Humans had never been seen as equals in the galaxy of warriors, engineers, and conquerors. They were considered clever perhaps, but small and weak. And yet this one human had repaired what no alien engineer could. As preparations for the simulation began, Ilara was escorted to a control room overlooking the training grounds. From here, she would monitor the armor's performance and make adjustments if necessary. Her heart beat steadily, but she remained outwardly calm. She knew the Queen was watching, and she knew failure was not an option, but neither was fear. The Queen herself entered the simulation chamber, her repaired armor gleaming under the lights. The energy hum from the armor was smooth, almost alive, a sign that the repairs were more than cosmetic. The Queen moved her hands, tested the joint flexibility, and felt the subtle balance improvements that Ilara had made. A few of the assembled aliens gasped quietly. Even without the trial beginning, they could feel the difference. The armor was not just restored, it had been enhanced subtly in ways they could not fully understand. Ilara watched, her eyes scanning data streams and monitoring energy outputs. Every adjustment she had made, every creative solution she had applied was being tested now. Her mind raced with calculations, but she kept her expression calm. The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber. "Prepare yourselves," she said to her warriors. "We shall see if this human's work is worthy." The warriors lined up, their weapons drawn, and the tension in the hall reached its peak. All eyes were on the human engineer, on her calm demeanor, on her small figure surrounded by giants. She was about to face the ultimate test of her skill, and if she failed, the consequences would be severe. But Ilara did not falter. She had repaired the armor, yes, but more importantly, she had proven something to herself. Humans could rise to challenges no one expected, even in the heart of the most powerful alien empire. And as the Queen raised her hand to begin the trial, Ilara knew that this moment would not just test her skill, it would test the very perception of humanity in the galaxy. She took a deep breath and prepared for what was coming. The fate of her reputation, her life, and perhaps the future of humans in the alien fleet rested on the success of a single human mind. And so, in the glowing heart of the alien capital ship, under the gaze of the most feared ruler in the galaxy, a human engineer stepped forward, ready to show the universe that ingenuity, courage, and determination were not limited by size, species, or expectation. The trial was about to begin, and the story of a human standing proud among aliens had only just begun. The great hall of the capital ship had never been quieter. Even the soft hum of machinery seemed distant, muted by the weight of anticipation. The alien warriors waited, their eyes fixed on the human engineer who had dared to repair their Queen's armor. Ilara Miles stood calmly, small in stature but steady, her gaze unwavering. Every detail of her mind focused on what was coming next. The Queen's eyes scanned the hall and then settled on Ilara. "You claim to have repaired my armor, human," she said, her voice low and sharp. "Explain yourself. Tell me how a fragile human accomplished what generations of my engineers could not." Ilara adjusted the strap of her tool belt. "Your Majesty, I approached the problem differently. I studied the damage, tested the materials, and experimented with solutions. I did not rely solely on manuals or tradition. I used observation and reasoning along with a few creative ideas. That is how I repaired the armor." A murmur ran through the crowd. Aliens exchanged skeptical looks. Observation and reasoning were concepts they understood, but creativity and engineering? That was something humans were rumored to have, but they had never seen it on such a scale. The Queen leaned forward slightly, curious but wary. Observation and reasoning alone would not suffice. "Show me, human. Show me that your claim is more than words." Alara nodded. "I can demonstrate, Your Majesty. If you allow me access to a control interface, I can display the repairs, the flow of energy, and the adjustments made to the joints and plating." The Queen gestured to her aides. "Provide her with access. Let the human demonstrate. But understand this. If her work is found wanting, the consequences will be severe." Ilara was guided to a control panel in the center of the room. Her hands moved quickly, pulling up holographic displays and schematics. Aliens leaned closer, their long fingers brushing the displays with unfamiliar gestures, trying to understand. "Notice," Ilara said, pointing to the armor's shoulder joint, "that the reinforcement here was not just replaced. It was realigned to distribute force evenly across the plating. This prevents stress fractures in future battles." It was a subtle change, but essential for durability. The Queen tilted her head, eyes narrowing. She had felt something different when she first moved her shoulder. Now she saw the explanation. A subtle enhancement, almost invisible but perceptible to the wearer. Her armor moved more smoothly, responded more intuitively. One of the Queen's top engineers stepped forward, his tentacle brushing the edge of the display. "This human, she has adjusted the energy conduits as well?" he asked in disbelief. "Those conduits are calibrated to the armor's original specifications. Any change would risk catastrophic failure." Ilara smiled faintly. "I rerouted the conduits slightly, but within safe parameters. I tested the energy flow and ensured stability. The result is better efficiency without compromising strength." The alien murmurs grew louder. Their confidence was shaken. Humans were considered clever, but no one had ever seen a human improve alien technology so confidently. The Queen's voice cut through the room. "You will prove this with action, human. Words and schematics are meaningless unless tested. Prepare the armor for a training simulation. You will see if your repair can withstand real combat." Ilara followed the aides to a control station overlooking the simulation chamber. She could see the Queen already moving toward the arena, her repaired armor gleaming under the lights. The hum of the armor's energy systems was smooth, almost alive, confirming that Ilara's adjustments were holding. The warriors entered the chamber, forming a gauntlet. Each was a seasoned fighter, trained to overpower opponents with strength, speed, and precision. None had ever fought the Queen in her fully operational armor, let alone with enhancements that they did not understand. Ilara's hands hovered over the control interface. She could adjust minor energy flows in real time, fine-tuning the armor's response to the Queen's movements. She had done everything she could. Now it was a test of human ingenuity versus raw alien strength. The Queen turned to her warriors. "Attack," she commanded. The first warrior charged, swinging a massive energy blade. The Queen dodged effortlessly, the repaired armor absorbing the impact. Ilara watched the energy reading spike and then stabilize just as she had predicted. Another warrior lunged, this one faster, with twin daggers designed to exploit gaps in the armor. The Queen twisted, her movements fluid, almost intuitive. The minor adjustments Ilara had made to joint flexibility allowed her to move faster and with more precision than ever before. The warriors attacked in succession, each strike faster and more unpredictable. The hall echoed with the clash of weapons and the energy hum of the armor, and through it all the human engineer remained calm, her fingers dancing across the control interface to maintain balance and optimize performance. Even the Queen noticed it. "Your work. It is not just functional," she said, her voice carrying through the chamber. "It is intelligent. There is a human touch in it I cannot ignore," the alien engineers whispered among themselves, some of them unable to hide astonishment. A human had not only repaired the armor, but had improved it. The Queen's warriors were being outmatched, not by alien skill, but by enhancements made by a human mind. Ilara focused on the next challenge. A warrior unleashed a barrage of plasma bolts designed to exploit energy weaknesses. She adjusted the armor's energy shields in real time, diverting excess power to critical areas. The Queen moved through the onslaught as if she anticipated it, the armor responding smoothly to her commands. For the first time, some of the warriors faltered. They had underestimated the human engineer. They realized that raw strength and traditional training were no match for creativity, adaptability, and quick thinking. The Queen's eyes glowed faintly under her helmet visor. She was still in control, still the most feared being in the galaxy, yet she could not deny the truth. This human had made her stronger, more agile, and more deadly than she had been before. After several minutes, the simulation ended. The Queen stood, her armor intact and flawless. She looked at Alara, her expression unreadable. The hall was silent, save for the soft hum of the armor's energy systems winding down. "Human," the Queen said finally, her voice low and deliberate. "You have done what no alien engineer could accomplish. You have proven yourself. But now I must know, why? Why would a human risk herself to repair the armor of the galaxy's most feared ruler?" Alara stepped forward, her voice steady. "Your Majesty, humans are problem solvers. We see challenges not as obstacles but as puzzles. We take risks because we learn from them. And we find solutions where others see only failure. That is why I did it. And I would do it again if needed." The Queen considered this. Humans were unpredictable, fragile, yet capable of feats no one expected. Perhaps that unpredictability was their greatest strength. Her advisors whispered nervously. "She is bold," one said. "Perhaps too bold. A human cannot survive the consequences if she fails." But the Queen had already made a decision in her mind. "You will remain in my service, human. Your ingenuity is valuable. I will watch you closely, and I will test your abilities further. But know this, you are now under my protection and under my scrutiny. Fail and it will not be forgiven." Alara bowed respectfully. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will not fail." The Queen turned to leave the chamber, her armor glowing faintly in the low light. The human engineer followed at a respectful distance, her mind already analyzing the next set of challenges. Even as she walked, Alara knew that this was only the beginning. She had proven her skill in a controlled simulation, but real combat and unexpected challenges awaited. She would need every ounce of ingenuity, courage, and adaptability she possessed to continue proving that humans were more than they seemed. Across the hall, the alien warriors and engineers were whispering, their skepticism giving way to awe. A single human had achieved what they had thought impossible. And as the Queen's shadow receded down the corridor, the murmurs grew louder. Humans were clever, resourceful, and perhaps more important than anyone had imagined. Alara felt a small smile tug at the corner of her lips. She was just one human, yes, but she had shown that even a single human could stand among giants and make a difference. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and threats, but she was ready. She would face them all, armed with her mind, her tools, and her unshakable determination. The challenge was far from over. The Queen would test her further, and the galaxy would continue to doubt her kind. But Alara knew one thing. Humans were underestimated for a reason, and that reason would become their greatest strength. And so, in the glowing heart of the alien capital ship, under the watchful eyes of the galaxy's most feared ruler, a human engineer prepared for the trials ahead. She was small, she was human, but she was ready to show the universe that ingenuity, courage, and determination could outshine size, species, or expectation. The challenge had begun. The simulation chamber was immense, its walls alive with glowing panels that tracked movement, energy, and combat efficiency. The alien warriors had taken their positions, each one eager to test the repaired armor against their queen. Yet beneath their confidence lay uncertainty. They had faced the Queen in her original armor countless times, but never in this subtly enhanced form. Alara Miles stood in the control room above, watching the holographic displays and streams of data flow across the console. Her fingers moved quickly, adjusting energy channels and monitoring stress points. She had prepared for every calculation she could predict, but she knew that unpredictability was part of the test. The Queen's instincts and skill, combined with Alara's repairs, would be challenged in real time. Below, the Queen stepped into the arena. Her armor gleamed under the lights, smooth and almost alive. Every movement was precise and fluid, and even the faintest shift in her stance reflected the subtle adjustments Alara had made. The Queen flexed her fingers, testing the joints. They moved freely, easily bearing the weight of the armor, yet with perfect responsiveness. The chamber doors opened, and the first wave of warriors advanced. They were fast, well-trained, and armed with energy weapons designed to pierce and damage even the strongest armor. Alara's eyes scanned the energy feedback from the armor. "Energy shield stability is at 98%, she muttered to herself. "Plating reinforcement is holding. All systems nominal. The first warrior swung a massive plasma blade aiming directly at the Queen's shoulder. The blade struck the armor with a shower of sparks, but the impact was absorbed without resistance to movement. The Queen shifted, her armor reacting almost instinctively, guided by the enhancements Alara had implemented. The second warrior lunged from a different angle, twin daggers glinting under the arena lights. The Queen twisted, her armor bending and flexing in response. The subtle calibration Alara had made allowed the joints to move with maximum efficiency, absorbing impact while maintaining balance. The warrior stumbled, surprised by the Queen's speed and precision. Alara adjusted minor energy flows, diverting excess power to the shoulder plating and stabilizing the energy shields. Diverting 2% to joint stabilization. Shield stable. Armor response optimal, she said calmly, though her mind raced with calculations and predictions. The Queen's movements were a blend of power, grace, and now subtle human ingenuity. Each attack from the warriors tested the limits of her armor and her skill. Each time the armor responded perfectly, and the Queen moved through the attacks as though guided by a silent partner. A veteran warrior shouted in frustration. What is this? She moves like she knows where we will strike. Alara smiled faintly. She doesn't know exactly, but she can respond faster because the armor assists her movements, reducing energy loss and improving balance. It's subtle, but it makes a difference. The Queen's eyes glowed faintly under her helmet visor. She felt the difference. It was not just in the repairs. Her armor felt alive, more responsive, more intuitive. The human had done something extraordinary, improved the Queen herself without altering the core essence of the armor. A third warrior approached with a barrage of plasma bolts, faster than any previous attack. The Queen raised her arms, energy shields flaring. Alara monitored the readings carefully. Shields absorbing 67% of energy, she noted, diverting remaining energy to armor plating. Should handle overload. The plasma bolt struck, but the armor absorbed the energy without failure. The Queen moved through the assault with fluid precision, striking back at the warriors with controlled force. The chamber echoed with the sounds of energy impacts and metallic clashes. For the first time, some of the warriors faltered, unsure how to overcome the Queen's improved performance. They had underestimated the combination of human ingenuity and alien strength. They realized that their experience and brute force were no longer enough to guarantee success. Alara adjusted the armor's joint responsiveness in real time, optimizing balance for each new attack. Shoulder alignment perfect. Elbow rotation enhanced. Hip stabilization nominal. Maximum efficiency maintained, she said quietly, her mind moving faster than the Queen's opponents could comprehend. The Queen paused briefly, assessing her surroundings. Even without looking at the monitors, she could feel the difference in her movements. Every step, every strike, every dodge was smoother and more precise than before. She began to see the true impact of the human's work. Human ingenuity, she murmured almost to herself. It is impressive. The next wave of warriors approached, coordinated and relentless. The Queen moved through them with calculated grace, each strike precise and each defense effective. Sparks flew, energy discharged, and the sounds of combat echoed throughout the chamber. And all the while, Alara monitored the armor, making micro-adjustments that the Queen could not detect consciously, but that made a measurable difference in performance. A particularly aggressive warrior attacked with twin energy axes, aiming to exploit any perceived weakness in the armor. The Queen twisted, using momentum and leverage to redirect the attack, her armor absorbing impact and energy feedback. The warrior stumbled, off balance and frustrated. Alara noted the energy distribution, making minute adjustments to ensure no system overload occurred. Energy flow optimal. Impact resistance holding. Armor integrity at 100%. The crowd watching from observation galleries could not believe what they were seeing. A human had not only repaired alien armor, but had enhanced it in a way that allowed the Queen to outperform her own warriors. Some of the engineers whispered in awe, while others struggled to understand the human's methodology. The Queen moved with increasing confidence, striking and dodging with flawless execution. She was testing every ability, every adjustment, and every limit. And through it all, the enhancements made by Alara gave her an edge that no one, not even the warriors, could anticipate. After several minutes, the simulation concluded. The Queen stood unscathed, her armor flawless and her movement steady. The chamber was silent, save for the fading hum of energy systems and the quiet murmur of observers. Ilara exhaled, though her expression remained calm. She had done it. The repairs held under real combat conditions, and the enhancements had proven their value. The Queen turned her gaze toward the control room. "Human," she said, her voice both commanding and curious. "Your work is extraordinary. You have taken what should have been ordinary repairs and made it superior. Explain this. How does a human think in ways my engineers do not?" Ilara stepped forward, speaking clearly. "Your Majesty, humans are used to adapting quickly. We solve problems not only by following instructions, but by observing, experimenting, and learning from mistakes. We take risks, and through those risks, we find solutions others might not consider. That is how I approached your armor." The Queen considered her words. It was true, humans were unpredictable. Their actions were not limited by rigid rules or tradition. They could see problems from new angles and find solutions that no one else expected. Perhaps that unpredictability was a strength, not a weakness. Her advisors whispered nervously. "She is bold," one said. "Perhaps too bold for a human. We should be cautious." But the Queen had already made her decision. "You will remain in my service, human. Your skill is valuable. I will test you further, yes, but know this. Your ingenuity has earned you recognition. Fail me, and the consequences will be yours. Succeed, and you will rise in ways no human has before." Ilara bowed respectfully. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will not fail." As the Queen left the chamber, the human engineer remained in the control room, reviewing the data from the simulation. She had done more than repair the armor. She had proven that humans could solve problems in ways aliens could not even imagine. Across the observation galleries, whispers spread among the alien warriors and engineers. A single human had accomplished what they believed impossible. Humans were clever, resourceful, and perhaps more valuable than anyone had realized. Ilara felt a quiet sense of pride. She was only one human, but she had stood in the presence of the galaxy's most feared ruler and succeeded. She had proven that size, species, or expectation could not limit determination, skill, or creativity. The trial was over, but the journey was far from finished. The Queen's next tests would be harder, more dangerous, and more revealing. Ilara knew she had to remain sharp, adaptive, and ready for anything. Yet in that moment, she allowed herself a small smile. The first step had been taken. Humans could stand among giants. Humans could make a difference in the galaxy. And as she prepared for the challenges ahead, she felt a sense of quiet determination settle within her. The universe had underestimated humans. That mistake, she knew, would soon become the greatest advantage of all. The trial had begun. And a human had already shown that courage, intelligence, and ingenuity could shine brighter than size, strength, or fear. The glow of the capital ship's control panels reflected off Ilara's focused face as she reviewed the simulation data. Every readout confirmed what she had already sensed. The armor's repairs were not just holding, they were improving the Queen's performance. Yet as she looked at the complex patterns of energy flow and stress distribution, she realized that the true test was not just technical. The Queen herself had to understand the human advantage in a deeper way. Moments later, the Queen entered the observation chamber, her towering presence commanding immediate attention. The hum of her armor was smooth and steady, a testament to Ilara's skill. Yet in her eyes there was curiosity mingled with skepticism. She had seen the results in combat, but she wanted to understand the mind behind them. "You have proven yourself human," the Queen said, her voice low and deliberate. "Your repairs are effective, your enhancements clever. But tell me, why does a human approach challenges differently? Why did you succeed where my engineers failed?" Ilara stepped forward, her gaze steady. "Your Majesty, humans are adaptable. We do not always follow tradition, and we are not afraid to experiment. We fail, we learn, and we try again. That is how we solve problems." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "So your kind is fearless?" "Not fearless, Your Majesty," Ilara replied. "We are cautious, but we value creativity and adaptability. We see opportunities where others see only risk. That is what allowed me to repair your armor and enhance it." The Queen was silent for a moment, considering these words. She had encountered many species in her lifetime, and few had dared to speak with such confidence and clarity. Few had demonstrated skill combined with insight in ways that challenged her assumptions. "Very well," the Queen said finally. "Show me another demonstration. Not just of your skill with technology, but of your ability to apply it in situations beyond the expected." Ilara's mind raced. She realized the Queen wanted more than engineering skills. She wanted problem-solving, creativity, and adaptability in real-world conditions. She nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty." The Queen led her to a restricted sector of the ship, where several damaged drones had been decommissioned after a previous mission. Their circuits were fried, their energy cores unstable. Alien engineers had deemed them irreparable. Ilara knelt beside one of the drones, inspecting the damage. The Queen watched silently as Ilara examined the wiring, energy conduits, and control systems. She moved methodically, testing each connection, observing how the energy flowed through the damaged drone. Within minutes, she began rerouting the circuits, creating makeshift connections that were unconventional but precise. The drone's core flickered to life. Sparks danced across its surface and its system stabilized. It rotated its sensors, moving as if it were aware of its surroundings. The Queen's eyebrows lifted. "You did not follow the standard repair protocols," she noted. "You created your own solutions." Ilara smiled faintly. "Sometimes the rules limit what is possible. Humans solve problems by thinking differently, by adapting to the situation. That is how I repaired your armor, and now this drone." Another drone was more severely damaged, its energy core cracked and leaking. Alien engineers had called it irreparable, yet Ilara approached it with calm determination. She tested the energy flow, created temporary stabilizers, and used her tools to safely reconnect the circuits. Within moments, the drone's systems reactivated, its movements precise and balanced. The Queen's advisors whispered nervously. They had never seen such confidence in a human before. Some exchanged doubtful glances, wondering if it was luck or brilliance. The Queen stepped closer to Ilara. "You see things differently. Your solutions are not just repairs, they are improvements. You take risks and create results that others cannot predict." Ilara nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty. And humans are not afraid to fail. We learn from mistakes and use them to achieve success. That is why I could repair your armor in ways your engineers had not considered." For the first time, the Queen's tone softened slightly. "Your kind is remarkable. Perhaps I have underestimated humans." Ilara bowed slightly, acknowledging the Queen's respect. "I am glad to be of service, Your Majesty. Humans may be small, but our ingenuity allows us to face challenges others cannot." The Queen observed her for a long moment. "Small, yet capable of greatness. Yes, I see it now. Humans are underestimated, and yet they can change the course of events through creativity and courage." Ilara's heart beat steadily. She had proven herself through skill and logic. But now the Queen recognized a deeper truth, the value of human adaptability and insight. This was more than engineering. This was the recognition of what humans could offer on a larger scale. The Queen motioned to her aides. "Prepare a briefing for the fleet. Let it be known that a human has proven herself invaluable. Let all who doubt her skill witness what humans can achieve." Ilara felt a wave of pride, but she remained calm. Recognition was not her goal. Problem-solving was. Yet she understood the importance of this moment. Humans would be seen differently now, not as fragile outsiders, but as valuable contributors with unique strengths. As the briefing began, Ilara was introduced to a team of engineers, both human and alien. Her task was to lead a joint project combining human ingenuity with alien technology. She explained her approach, encouraging experimentation, observation, and adaptation. The alien engineers listened, some skeptical, some curious, but all intrigued by her methods. During the project, Ilara demonstrated how small adjustments, creative thinking, and rapid problem-solving could yield results far beyond expectations. She rewired systems, recalibrated energy conduits, and enhanced efficiency in ways that were unconventional but effective. The Queen observed silently, her eyes reflecting a mix of pride and approval. She had witnessed something extraordinary, a human not only keeping pace with alien technology, but improving it in ways that challenged centuries of tradition. Human ingenuity, the Queen whispered to herself. It is a force that cannot be ignored. Perhaps my empire will benefit from this perspective. Ilara worked tirelessly, but she also encouraged collaboration. She taught the alien engineers to experiment, to think beyond rigid rules, and to embrace the possibility of failure as a path to improvement. Slowly, the engineers began to understand, to see that humans brought something different to the table, a combination of courage, creativity, and practical skill. The Queen's respect grew with each passing day. She visited the lab frequently, observing the human engineer at work. She asked questions, challenged assumptions, and tested solutions. And each time, Ilara met her challenges with precision and clarity, reinforcing the Queen's growing belief in the value of humans. One day, after a particularly complex task, involving the integration of alien propulsion systems with human-designed modifications, the Queen approached Ilara directly. You have done more than repair armor or machines, she said. You have changed the way I see your species. Humans are not weak. Humans are not simple. They are capable of things we never expected. Ilara bowed. Thank you, Your Majesty. That is all I have ever sought, to solve problems and demonstrate that humans can contribute in ways that matter. The Queen studied her for a moment, then nodded. You have done more than that. You have proven that humans can be trusted with responsibility, strategy, and innovation. You have earned your place among my advisors and engineers. Ilara's eyes sparkled with determination. She had not only repaired the Queen's armor and machines, but had revealed the true potential of her species. Humans were clever, adaptable, and resilient, and now, for the first time, the Queen saw them as more than outsiders. She saw them as essential allies in the galaxy's future. The revelation was complete. The Queen's perception had shifted, and with it, the perception of all who served her. A single human engineer had not only proved her own worth, but had begun to redefine how her species viewed humans entirely. As Ilara looked around the lab, seeing humans and aliens working side by side, she felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. It was not pride in herself alone. It was pride in her species, in the ability to rise above doubt, to create, and to inspire. And in that moment, the Queen spoke again, her voice carrying a note of approval that resonated throughout the lab. Humans, she said, are underestimated, and that will be their greatest strength. Ilara smiled, ready for the next challenge, knowing that the universe had just begun to see what humans could truly achieve. The revelation was not just about repairing armor or fixing machines. It was about showing the galaxy that humans, though small and seemingly fragile, could stand tall through ingenuity, courage, and determination. The journey ahead would be filled with trials, but Ilara had already proven one undeniable truth. Humans could rise to meet any challenge, and their potential was limitless. The great hall of the alien capital ship was filled with a hum of anticipation. Word had spread through the fleet. The human engineer who had repaired the Queen's armor and improved her machines was to be honored. Aliens of all ranks had gathered, curious to witness a human being recognized by the most feared ruler in the galaxy. Ilara Miles stood at the center of the hall, her hands folded calmly. She wore her standard engineer's overalls unadorned, but her presence commanded attention. She did not need ornaments or armor to make a statement. Her achievements and ingenuity spoke louder than anything else. The Queen descended from her throne, her repaired armor gleaming with energy and authority. Every alien in the hall fell silent. Even seasoned warriors and high-ranking advisors paused, waiting for what was to come. You have demonstrated skill beyond what my empire has ever witnessed, the Queen said, her voice carrying across the hall. You have repaired what was thought irreparable, enhanced what was thought perfect, and led with insight and courage. For this you will be honored, Ilara bowed respectfully. Thank you, Your Majesty, she said, her voice calm but filled with quiet pride. The Queen gestured to the assembled crowd. Let it be known across the fleet. This human engineer, Ilara Miles, has proven that her species is not to be underestimated. Their ingenuity, adaptability, and courage are qualities that even the most advanced civilizations must respect. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Aliens looked at each other with a mix of surprise and admiration. Humans had often been considered clever but weak, fragile beings who could not withstand the challenges of galactic conflict. Now they were being recognized as innovators, problem solvers, and essential allies. The Queen stepped closer to Ilara. Your work has earned you a position unlike any human has held before. You will lead a team of engineers, both human and alien, to innovate and improve our technology. Your ideas will shape the future of this fleet. Ilara's eyes sparkled, not with arrogance, but with determination. She understood the responsibility she had been given. It was not merely an honor. It was a chance to prove that humans could make a lasting impact, not just for herself, but for her species and for the Queen's empire. The Queen continued, her tone commanding yet respectful. I will watch your progress personally. Fail and you will face consequences, but succeed, and you will inspire the entire fleet. Ilara nodded. I will not fail, Your Majesty. I will do my best to serve and innovate. As the ceremony concluded, Ilara was guided to her new command center. It was a vast lab filled with advanced alien technology, tools, and machines she had never seen before. She could feel the potential in the room, the opportunity to push the boundaries of engineering and creativity. Her new team included both human engineers, who had been carefully selected for their skills, and several alien engineers who were eager to learn from her unconventional methods. Some were skeptical, their pride challenged by the presence of a human leader. Others were genuinely curious, excited to see what insights she could bring. Ilara addressed the team. We have a unique opportunity here. Our goal is not just to repair or maintain technology, it is to improve it. We will combine our knowledge, experiment, and adapt. There will be mistakes, but from those mistakes we will find solutions. That is how humans approach challenges, and it is how we will succeed together. The room was silent for a moment. Then one of the alien engineers, a tall figure with iridescent scales, stepped forward. We will follow your lead, human. Show us what we can achieve together. Ilara smiled. Then let's begin. The first project was to upgrade a fleet of transport drones that had been prone to energy inefficiency and mechanical failures. Ilara divided the team into groups, assigning humans and aliens together to encourage collaboration and the exchange of ideas. She guided them to look beyond conventional methods, to question assumptions, and to think creatively. Within hours, the team had developed improvements that no one had anticipated. Minor adjustments to energy flow, structural reinforcement using mixed materials, and innovative software recalibrations resulted in drones that were faster, stronger, and more reliable. The Queen observed the results from her throne, a small smile tugging at the corners of her visor. She had doubted whether a human could lead and inspire alien engineers, but the results were undeniable. Humans brought a perspective that was fresh, bold, and effective. Days turned into weeks as Ilara continued to lead her team. They tackled more complex projects, integrating human-designed sensors into alien starships, improving energy distribution in armored suits, and even designing prototypes for entirely new devices that combined human creativity with alien technology. Each success reinforced the Queen's growing respect for humans. She began to advocate for more human engineers to join her fleet, understanding that their adaptability and ingenuity could provide a strategic advantage in ways alien engineers alone could not. One evening, the Queen called Ilara to a private chamber. The armor glowed softly under the dim lights, a reminder of the first time Ilara had repaired it. You have done more than I expected, the Queen said. You have not only repaired and improved my armor, but you have transformed how this fleet views your species. Humans are no longer outsiders. They are valued contributors. That is a remarkable achievement, Ilara bowed. Thank you, Your Majesty. I only sought to solve problems and show what humans can do. I am honored that it has had such an impact. The Queen regarded her thoughtfully. It is rare for one individual to change the perception of an entire species. Yet you have done it, human. Your ingenuity, courage, and adaptability are qualities that even I must respect. Ilara's heart swelled with pride. She had not only proven herself, but it paved the way for other humans to be recognized across the galaxy. Her species, once underestimated, now had a chance to shine. The next day, the Queen convened a fleet-wide assembly. Aliens and humans alike gathered to hear the announcement. The Queen's voice echoed across the chamber. "Let it be known," she declared, "that humans are valuable allies and innovators. Their creativity, courage, and skill have earned my respect. One human, Alara Miles, has demonstrated that the potential of her species cannot be ignored. She will lead efforts to innovate and strengthen our fleet, and her contributions will be recognized across all star systems under my influence." Applause, cheers, and murmurs filled the hall. Humans who had felt insignificant among the vast alien empire now stood taller, inspired by Alara's achievements. The Queen's statement was not just about one engineer. It was a recognition of the value of human ingenuity across the galaxy. Alara stepped forward, acknowledging the honor with humility. She spoke to the assembly, her voice carrying across the hall. "Humans are small, yes, and we are often underestimated," she said. "But we are curious, adaptable, and willing to face challenges others avoid. We learn from mistakes, think creatively, and work together to solve problems. I am honored to have this opportunity, and I hope my work will inspire humans and aliens alike to reach higher, to think differently, and to never underestimate what can be achieved when determination and ingenuity meet." The Queen's eyes glowed softly under her visor, reflecting approval and respect. She had seen countless warriors, engineers, and leaders in her long life, but few had left as profound an impression as this human. In the following weeks, Alara led her team through increasingly complex projects. She designed energy-efficient propulsion systems, improved defensive armor for entire squadrons, and even developed new communication protocols that allowed humans and aliens to collaborate more effectively. Each success further solidified humans' place in the fleet and proved that creativity and adaptability could surpass brute strength or tradition. Alara's reputation spread beyond the capital ship. Across the galaxy, human engineers were sought after, invited to join fleets, research stations, and even alien academies. The story of the human who repaired the alien queen's armor became legendary, a symbol of courage, skill, and the underestimated power of humanity. One quiet moment, as Alara reviewed her latest project, the Queen approached her once more. "You have done more than repair and innovate," she said. "You have changed how my empire perceives your species. Humans are no longer outsiders. They are essential. And you, Alara, have led the way." Alara looked up, smiling gently. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what humans do best: adapt, create, and solve problems. I hope this is just the beginning of what we can achieve together." The Queen nodded. "It is only the beginning. The universe has underestimated humans for too long. That mistake will no longer be repeated." Alara's gaze swept across the fleet, seeing humans and aliens working together, solving problems, and innovating side by side. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment, not for herself alone, but for her species. Humans were no longer the underestimated outsiders. They were recognized for their ingenuity, courage, and potential to shape the future, and so, the story of a single human engineer who dared to stand before the galaxy's most feared ruler came to its triumphant conclusion. Alara Miles had repaired armor, improved machines, and led a team of engineers. But more importantly, she had changed the perception of humanity across the stars. The universe had underestimated humans. That mistake had been made once, and it would never happen again.